Trains and buses, games and songs, come join us and sing along. Transit Talks is where I'll be, the coolest place in NYC. Welcome to Transit Talks.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Transit Talks. My name is Dana, and I work at the New York Transit Museum, a museum in Brooklyn, New York, where we talk about all things transit and how we get from place to place. Now, every week for Transit Talks, we like to sing the hello song. And we sing the hello song to get to know how we're feeling. So, how do you feel right now? I think I'm feeling creative. So today, we're going to sing the hello song about feeling creative. And we're going to sing that song on the count of 3. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm creative, I'll make some artwork soon. Ooh, that was very musical, I like that. Let's sing again on the count of 2. 1, 2. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm creative, I'll make some artwork soon. I think the way that we're singing that song is pretty creative too. I'm feeling creative today because we're going to be talking about the art of Zenobia Bailey. Here's a picture of Zenobia surrounded by her artwork. What shapes do you see? Point to the shapes. I notice a lot of circles. What colors do you see? I think all of the colors are here. Red, blue, yellow, and orange. Zenobia is a cultural activist and fiber artist. She often makes art using yarn and cloth. Even though she likes to use those materials, her art has been made out of many different things. Here is a subway station that turned her fiber art into a glass tile mosaic. It is called Functional Vibrations, and it can be found at the 34th Street Hudson Yards station. The MTA put Zenobia's art into the subway so that people have something nice to look at that makes them smile while they ride the trains. Let's take a closer look at Functional Vibrations. What does this art make you think of? Does it look like something you know? Take 5 seconds to look at the art and think about what it reminds you of. I've heard people say the art looks like waves from a drop of water. I've heard people say that it reminds them of planets in the sky. I've also heard people say it looks like marbles or candy. When I look at this art, I think about fireworks. Zenobia is said to be an artist and be able to create things. It's like fireworks every time you think about something. I try to get energy and movement from something that is not moving at all. Artists often get inspired by each other. Zenobia has been inspired by mandalas, which are special circles often seen in Hinduism and Buddhism. She's been inspired by other artists, like Nick Cave, who made her think about how her funky hats could be turned into wall art. And, like the title of her subway artwork, she gets especially inspired by the funk aesthetic. Let's listen to some funk music to get inspired. I'm going to play music by the Underground Horns, a Brooklyn-based brass band playing Afro-funk Bhangra grooves, and a band that you can often find playing in the subways.
These are the Underground Horns.
How did that music make you feel? Did you like it? Point to the emotions on the screen that you feel. Now that we've gotten inspired by Zenobia and her artistic influences, let's make our own art. We are going to make woven circle art. For this project, we will need to gather some materials. We will need a plastic or paper plate, string or yarn, scissors, tape, and a marker. If you do not have a paper plate or string or yarn, that's okay. Zenobia calls herself a trash alchemist because she uses unusual materials as if they are string or yarn. You can make weaving materials easily by cutting up old clothes, plastic bags, even napkins in aluminum foil. You can also cut out a cardboard circle instead of using a plate. Pause for a moment to gather what you need. Begin with your paper plate or cardboard circle. Using your marker, draw an uneven amount of small lines along the edge. I have 11 tick marks, but any uneven number is fine. Grab your scissors and cut inward slightly along those lines. I'm going to switch to just the plate to make it easier to see. Then, grab your yarn material and your tape. We are going to make our loom. Tape one end of your string to the back of the plate. Then, run it through one of the cuts on the edge of the circle. Flip to the front of the plate and pull the yarn directly across to another cut. Flip to the back and loop the yarn through the neighboring slot. Flip to the front and pull the yarn into the cut directly across the plate, making a little crisscross. Flip the plate to the back and run the yarn through the neighboring cut. Keep repeating this process, moving the yarn across town in the front and looping to the neighbor in the back. Do this until there is only one slot left. Slide the yarn into that slot and then loop it around the center of the crisscrosses on the front of the plate. Pull until the crisscrosses meet at the center of your circle. Then, tie a knot at the center. Now that you've set up your loom, we can start weaving. If you have more yarn after tying the knot, then you can use that yarn to start the weave. I'm going to start with a different color to make it easier to see. The basic principle of this weave is over, under. You're going to take the end of your yarn and move it over one of the lines of string, and then under the next line of string. Then over the next line, and under the one after that. Move in a circle and pull the yarn tight as you weave. It's okay if it gets a little messy or is not perfect. That's how we learn and grow. You can always make another loom and use this as an example of a good first try. Keep weaving over and under until you run out of string. If you want to continue weaving, you can tie on another piece of string, snipping off the excess. Happy weaving! Keep weaving over and under and tying on more string until you feel like your artwork is done. Take the end of your string, tie a knot, and then cut off the excess. I like to keep my art on the loom, but if you want to remove it, simply snip off the edges of the yarn and tie some knots. Try not to snip it too close to the weaving like I did, so you have plenty of string to tie the knots. And there you have it. You've now made fiber art inspired by Zenobia Bailey. You can feel free to make more by reusing your plate or cardboard circle. That is the end of today's Transit Tots. Today, we learned about the artwork of Zenobia Bailey. We explored her influences and saw how her art makes the Hudson Yards Station beautiful. We ended today by making our own woven circle art, inspired by Zenobia's crochet circles. I hope you continue practicing your weaving, so you can see how much practice goes into making art. I challenge you to make a whole wall full of woven circles. That is the end of today's Transit Tots. I hope to see you at more in the future. Goodbye.
Trains and buses, games and songs, come join us and sing.